The celestial stables held wonders beyond mortal imagination. Horses named for lightning and wind, steeds of every legendary breed. Dragon-bred coursers with coats of starlight, jade-hoofed runners that chased the dawn. Each creature pulsed with divine energy, manes streaming like comets, hooves striking sparks against jade floors. This was no ordinary stable. This was a treasury of heaven's finest mounts, and son Wukong had been appointed their keeper. The Monkey King took his duties with surprising seriousness. He checked the ledgers, counted every horse, and organized the stable hands with military precision. Grooms fed the horses, washed their coats, and prepared fresh fodder. By day, he oversaw the work with sharp eyes. By night, he patrolled the stalls, rousing any sleeping horse to eat, chasing wanderers back to their troughs. Not a single moment was wasted. The heavenly steeds had never known such attention. Under Wukong's tireless care, they grew fat and sleek, muscles rippling beneath glossy coats. Their manes gleamed like silk, and their eyes shone with vigor. The stable officials watched in amazement. This monkey, this creature from the lower world, performed his humble task with the discipline of a general commanding an army. Half a month passed in this fashion, quiet and productive. One idle morning, the stable officers arranged a banquet, partly to welcome their new overseer, partly to celebrate his arrival. Wine flowed freely, laughter echoing through the jade halls. Wukong sat at the head of the table, cups raised, surrounded by cheerful companions. For a brief, golden moment, the Monkey King felt something unfamiliar settle over him, belonging. He drank deeply, and the celestial wine warmed him. Then, between cups, a question escaped him. What exactly was this title he held? Bimawen, what manner of rank was that? The officers exchanged glances. The name itself was the rank, they explained. He pressed further. What grade? What level? It shifted uncomfortably. There was no grade, they admitted. No level at all. Wukong's brow furrowed. No grade? Then it must be the highest possible. Surely such a title commanded great power. The officers shook their heads quickly, almost pitifully. Not high at all, they said. The title was called unranked, not even entered into the bureaucratic flow. The lowest, smallest position in all of heaven. A keeper of horses, nothing more. If the horses stayed fat, he might earn a single word of praise. If any grew thin or sick, he would be blamed. And if one died, he would be punished and fined for his failure. The words landed like stones dropped into still water. Wukong set down his cup slowly. The warmth of belonging drained from his chest, replaced by something far older and far more dangerous. He was son Wukong, king of the mountain of flowers and fruit, conqueror of demons, master of the water curtain cave. And heaven had tricked him into mucking stables. The insult was not merely personal. It was cosmic in its contempt. His golden eyes blazed. Fire rose in his chest, fury erupting like a volcano, shattering its peak. He grabbed the feast table and hurled it sideways, dishes and wine scattering across the jade floor. From his ear, he drew his iron staff, and with a flick of his wrist it swelled to the thickness of a bowl. The staff hummed with ancient power. The Monkey King had reached the end of his patience. He fought his way through the imperial horse stables, staff swinging in devastating arcs. Officials scattered, tables overturned, jade pillars cracked under the force of his rage. No one dared stand against him. The Monkey King carved a path of destruction through the celestial corridors, his staff a blur of iron fury, his golden eyes burning with the fire of humiliation. Heaven had made its gravest mistake. It had insulted a king and given him a weapon. He reached the South Heaven Gate, the great portal between heaven and the mortal world. The heavenly guards recognized him at once. The monkey who had received the immortal registry, the so-called Bimawen. They knew his power. They knew his temper, and they knew better than to stand in his way. The gates opened, whether by force or by fear, and son Wukong stormed through, leaving heaven behind. Clouds carried him downward, golden light trailing behind as he descended from the celestial realm. The world below rushed up to meet him. Green mountains, mist-shrouded valleys, the familiar fragrance of fruit and flowers. There it was, his mountain, his kingdom, the home heaven had tried to replace with a stable. He landed on the rocky summit, and the wind carried his voice across the peaks. The little ones, I have returned. His monkey subjects swarmed from every direction, tumbling over rocks and vines to reach him. They bowed, cheered, and ushered him deep into the water-curtained cave, where a feast was hastily prepared. You must have spent years in heaven. They marveled. Surely you return with glory and high office? Wukong waved his hand dismissively. Years? He had been gone barely half a month. The monkeys laughed. In heaven, 1 day equals 1 year below. Then they asked the question he had been dreading. What office did heaven grant you? His face darkened. He could not say the words without fury rising again. That Jade Emperor, he spat, had no eye for talent. He gave me a title called Bimawen, a keeper of horses, unranked, beneath contempt. I did not know at first, but when I asked my fellow officials, I learned the truth. So I smashed their table and left. The monkeys erupted in approval. Better to rule here in this blessed mountain, they cried, than to serve as a stable hand in heaven. Wine was brought to lift his spirits. But before the celebration could deepen, a report came. 2 single-horned demon kings stood at the cave entrance, requesting an audience. Wukong ordered them brought in. The demons entered, bowed low, and presented a gift, a robe of ochre yellow, fit for a king. Wukong accepted the robe with delight and dressed himself in its golden folds. The court fell into formation, bowing before him. He named the demon kings commanders of his vanguard. Then one demon spoke carefully. What office did heaven grant you? Great king. Wukong's jaw tightened. The Jade Emperor slighted me, he said. He named me Bimawen. The demon's eyes widened. With your power, why 10 horses? Why not call yourself the great sage equal to heaven? The words struck like lightning. Great sage equal to heaven. Wukong leapt to his feet, roaring approval. Yes, yes, yes. He ordered his 4 generals to raise a banner bearing those 4 bold words. From this day forward, he declared, no one calls me king. I am the great sage equal to heaven.